Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today is another episode of May I Scraplift You. And last week I scraplifted Crystal, so this week I am going to scraplift Moira, who is also our partner in crime for this series that is continuing on Saturdays. So this is the layout of Moira's that I chose to scraplift. She actually used an SCT sampler kit, so I pulled my SCT sampler kit as well, and also this delicious green wood grain paper house paper. It's from the Lake Life collection. On this side, it's like photorealistic paper, but this paper houses wood grain speak to my soul, you guys. They just really do. And I do have quite the stash of them. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use my sampler. I am going to use a photo of my laptop screen from the Scrap Smarter experience in January of this year. So let's see what I can do. All right, guys, so I am going to trim off that little paper strip on the paper. Oh my word, why is my mind blanking on what that sucker is called? The paper strip on the side of the paper. I'm seriously having a meltdown because I cannot think about what it's called. Okay, well, it is whatever. So I'm going to trim down these 6x6 papers that came in my SCT sampler kit. I'm going to trim them down to 2 1/4. Now, I decided to trim it down to that length because I knew that it would give me a very, very thin border around each of the strips when I space them out across the page. And I mean very thin border. Now, in Moira's layout, she definitely inked the edges. You can look at her layout and see that she inked the edges. But I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I thought that gold would look really awesome with this green wood grain paper. So I went ahead and used my Brutus Monroe embossing ink and my gilded embossing powder, and I just ran my embossing ink pad all the way around all of the edges, and I'm dipping the edges into the embossing powder. And then I'm just going to heat gun them up. So this kind of embossing is just as magical as the big embossing that you do, but the payoff is a little less. Like, it's not as big and like magical as normal. Like, it is, like, you see the magic happening, but it's just an ever so slight little bit on the edge. So it's not giving you a full on wow moment. It's still doing that mini wow, but it's not the big full wow that you get. But like I said, I just wanted a little bit of sparkle. So I was right. That gold gilded embossing powder looks great with this pattern paper background. So I'm going to go ahead and place my papers across. Now, I will be completely honest with you guys. This is the second day of doing this layout. Now, I absolutely hate walking away from a layout when it's not finished. So if I am like making a mixed media background and it needs to dry because I have, you know, serious and copious amounts of wet mixed media, that's different. But this wasn't that. But my husband came home late from work, and I was just scrapbooking until he came home. So I walked away. So I don't remember which order I had these paper strips in, and I could have reviewed my video to see, but again, lazy. Didn't do that, just decided to go with it. So ultimately, this is what I ended up with, and I kind of went floral, graphic, floral, graphic, floral. So that was like an on-purpose thought. Now, my photo here, I do trim it down, and I trim it down because I think I'm going to follow exactly what Moira does, and she has hers over the 3 middle strips of paper. Ultimately, I end up moving it over to the right-hand side a little bit more, just because I felt like it felt better for my layout. Like, the balance just felt better that way. I am going to keep on using my SCT sampler, though. It was fun because actually while I was scrapbooking with this SCT sampler, my next one arrived in the mail today, and Lana had brought it into me, so that was pretty cool. So I'm scrapbooking with an SCT sampler of Moira scrapbooking with an SCT sampler, and one arrived. Like, I just think that's cool. You guys might be thinking I'm a dork, but you know what? I get dorky about paper and I'm proud of it. So now I know that I want to use this little circle embellishment thing that came in my little mini kit because Moira did use a circle overlapping her photo. So I am going to punch out this piece of paper right here. What it's going to do is give me a background because you can see through it, and I don't want you to see through it and see all the edges through the embellishment. I don't want you to see that whatsoever. So I am pulling off the big pop dot that was on there. I am adding adhesive around the edge, and then I'm going to pop it down on top of the circle that I just punched out with my Older Than Dirt Creative Memories circle punch. So I get that down there, I figure out where it's going to go, and then I'm going to add on this little label right here and put that down. And I actually cover up the little heart that is on that label with a little teeny tiny floral die cut that also came in the kit. So see, this is my initial thought, is to put it all the way over so that it covers the last 3 strips. But like I said, I was really trying to channel my inner Moira, and it still feels a little off balance to me. With the way I end up doing my layout, it feels just a little bit off, just a little wonky, just a little bit of wonky. So I take a gold washi tape and I place it down here along the bottom of the page. And originally I was going to emboss down here, but again, lazy. Actually, it wasn't really laziness. It was more of I want to use up some of these washi tapes. Because you guys, I have a ton of washi tape, and some of it needs to go. And I don't mean go like throw it away. I mean go like use it. So I'm just trying to use some. So I pull out a couple labels from my stash, and I'm going to go ahead and build up some fun down here at the bottom of the page. And then I'm just going to take some of the papers that are up at the top, cut them down into little teeny tiny strips, and build on the bottom down here. Now, Moira's strips at the bottom were much more creative and spanned the entire bottom of the page, and it just is beautiful in its of itself. And I decided I didn't want to go that big. Like, I just don't want to. I felt like I was starting to take away of the gorgeousness of the green wood veneer paper, the wood grain paper. And I love this paper, you guys. Like, I really love this paper. Like, I'm thinking about going and placing an order of it because I only have 1 sheet of it in my stash. And I feel like I need more than 1 sheet of this in my stash, right? Like this is gorgeous paper, and I'm going to need some in my life. And how can I have some in my life if I only have 1 sheet left in my stash? Like, I am purposefully, you guys, thinking about hoarding this paper when I'm going through my papers manufacturer by manufacturer, trying to use up some. And you know, my whole philosophy is use it so you can buy more. So I guess I could convolute that around and justify it by saying I did use it, so now I need to buy more. Right? Like, right? Makes sense, right? We can justify anything we want when it comes to scrapbooking. And that's all there is to it. We can justify anything we want. So, yeah, I will probably, with my next paper house order, there's a couple things that I want to order. They came out with more U.S. Marine stuff. So there are a couple things I'm going to place an order for. So I'll just add that to the list, so when I'm ready to order, I can do it. Now, I do pull out these foam stickers. These are from Jelly Bean Soup, and I spell out the word today. And I like how today nestles right between that floral sticker and the strip of paper that I cut. I decide since I have this big black bold title down here, I need to add some up on the upper part of the page as well. So I add a couple hearts and then bring another heart down here to the bottom. So now I'm going to dig into my stash some more. Because you know what, guys, I do have to say the SCT sampler wasn't exactly what I was expecting when I got it. And that's okay. But it's new product coming into my home, and it's new product coming into my studio, and I'm mixing it with old product, and that makes me happy. I love mixing the new and the old stuff. I love using stash with the new stuff. Like that, just being able to mix, match, and do all that kind of stuff makes me happy. So pulling out these older things or stuff that's been in my stash, joyous occasion. So I have these little pebbles, puffy, nearly enamel dots, but they're not. So I'm going to put those on. And then I have just this one little pink one. So I put that on top of the flower, and I'm happy with how that turns out. And then I'm going to add just an ever so slight amount of journaling. I think I just write SSE 2021 because I do have other photos from the Scrap Smarter experience. So I will do much more journaling on there somewhere else. So there it is, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to check out Crystal and Moira's YouTube channels today. They are also scraplifting someone. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again real soon for another video.